ever feel like everyone's throwing around digital transformation, but no one really knows what it means? It's
Yeah.
like, we get it, things are changing, but how?
Right. It's easy to get lost in the buzzwords.
Yeah.
I think what's really powerful is like remembering life before smartphones makes you realize how much customer behavior has changed. It's huge.
It's true. When you put it like that, it makes you realize it's not just about putting your business online. It's so much bigger.
Exactly. It's how businesses adapt. It's everything, how you work, how you reach your customers. It's like using data, using AI.
Yeah.
It's about being faster, smarter, more customer focused.
Okay, so less about just adding tech, more about using it to rethink everything. But what's driving all this change?
Well, you've got the usual suspects, AI, big data, the cloud. But there's also this robotic process automation, RPA. Imagine like a digital workforce for those boring, repetitive tasks.
Hold on, so you're saying instead of my team drowning in paperwork, we can automate it?
That's the idea. The materials really emphasize how game-changing RPA can be, frees up your people for more creative, strategic work. I mean, think about how much more engaging that is for everyone.
So it's not just about efficiency, but also making work more fulfilling.
That's interesting. But honestly, it all feels very big business, like for those huge companies or online-only brands.
That's a common misconception, but the materials actually debunk that with some really interesting examples. Even traditional industries, energy manufacturing, they're all using this stuff. Adapt or die, right? So speaking of adaptation, our materials dive into these 8 levers companies are using to actually make this digital transformation happen. Where do we even start with that?
Well, the first 4 are all about driving growth.
Yeah.
So things like using tech to reach new customers, boost your sales, that kind of thing. Demand generation really stands out to me.
What's so special about demand generation?
It shows how social media and really targeted marketing have changed the game. It's not about shouting your message to everyone anymore. It's about
making people feel like you're speaking directly to them, even if they're just one person out of millions.
Exactly. And that need for personalization, it's everywhere, even in how businesses make themselves easy to find, being on the right social media platforms, maybe even using location-based services, if that makes sense for them.
It's like they have to meet their customers wherever they are on whatever device they're using.
Right. And that plays right into the next lever, the customer purchase process.
Yeah.
The way people buy things now, it's totally different.
Well, yeah, we used to have to go to stores, talk to salespeople. Now it's all online. Research, comparisons, buying, even customer support, all in one place.
And don't forget things like mobile payments or subscription services. It's wild how much it's changed. The materials have these great comparisons of the old way versus how it is now. Really makes you think.
Yeah, the companies that haven't adapted, they're probably not doing so well. There's one more growth driver to cover customer experience. Feels like the holy grail these days.
It really is about creating that positive experience at every touch point.
So from the moment someone hears about your brand, all the way through their journey, it should be smooth sailing.
Exactly. And to help understand that, there's this customer experience maturity model. Basically, it shows the different stages companies go through.
So most companies start with a bit of a messy approach.
Yeah, often. Like maybe their website and their physical store aren't really connected. Customers have completely different experiences.
It's like those jigsaw puzzles where the pieces don't quite fit. Frustrating.
Perfect analogy. But as companies mature, they move towards this omni-channel thing where the experience is the same everywhere.
And that's where data comes in, right? Using it to personalize things, predict what customers need.
You got it. And the materials have this cool customer experience matrix. It shows that just having data isn't enough. It's about using it in a smart way to create those amazing experiences for your customers, which actually leads perfectly into these 2 frameworks, McKinsey's consumer decision journey and Accenture's nonstop customer experience model. They dig deeper into how people are making decisions now and how businesses can adapt.
It's like having a cheat sheet for understanding your customers. But we've talked a lot about growth. What about making the business itself run better? How do these levers address that?
See, that's where the real magic happens. We're talking about using digital transformation to optimize your business from the inside out. But we'll delve into those levers: process efficiency, asset utilization, agility, and new business models.
Process efficiency, using tech to streamline things. Feels like a no-brainer, right?
It really is. Think about it. All those manual tasks that suck up time, data entry, approvals, you name it. Digital tools can handle that stuff so much faster.
Instead of digging through spreadsheets for hours, you have a system that does it in seconds.
Exactly. And it frees up your team to actually use their brains.
Yeah.
The materials have a good example with RPA, how it automates those repetitive tasks. It's not just about individual productivity. It's about the whole organization becoming more agile.
Being able to react quickly is so important these days. But before we get ahead of ourselves, there's another lever: asset utilization. What's the deal with that?
It's about squeezing the most value out of what you already have. Equipment, inventory, even your team's skills. Tech can track all that, help you optimize it.
Like instead of guessing, you have real-time data on what's working, what's not.
Right. And not just monitoring, you can predict problems before they happen. Like imagine knowing a piece of equipment needs maintenance before it breaks down and halts production.
That's some next level stuff. And that ties into agility, right? Being able to adapt quickly.
Absolutely. Things change so fast now, being agile isn't optional anymore. And digital transformation gives you the tools to make decisions faster, adjust on the fly.
It's like the difference between being a speedboat and a cruise ship, right? When you need to change direction fast, you'd rather be the speedboat. But agility alone isn't enough, is it?
You're right. We also need to think about completely new ways of doing business. That's the last lever, new business and service models.
So not just improving what you're doing, but coming up with completely new things.
Exactly. The sharing economy, subscription services, those are all examples. Digital tech makes it possible to offer things in entirely new ways.
It's both exciting and kind of scary, right? But before we get too carried away, we've got to figure out how to actually do this. We understand what it is, but how do we make it happen?
And that's where the digital maturity model comes in.
Okay, so we're finally tackling this digital maturity model. Feels like the key to unlocking everything we've been talking about.
It really is. It helps you figure out where you are on your digital journey. It's like a roadmap.
So you don't get lost on the way to digital paradise.
Exactly. The model in the materials has 7 stages, starting with initiate and ending with improve. Each stage, shows a higher level of digital sophistication.
Like climbing a ladder, one rung at a time.
Love it. So picture a company just starting out, right? They're in the initiate phase. Probably have a basic website, maybe dabble in social media, but
Just dipping their toes in the water, not quite ready to jump in.
exactly. Next step, the radiate phase, is where they start experimenting, trying different platforms, seeing what works for them.
Testing the waters, getting a feel for things, yeah.
Yep. But eventually, they need to be more strategic, right? That's the aligned phase. Now they're using these tools to actually achieve their goals.
So they're not just playing around anymore, they're serious about this whole digital thing.
Right. And as they get better, they reach the optimize phase. Data is key here, analyzing what's working, constantly improving.
Easy testing, personalizing, all that good stuff.
Yep. And then comes automate. Now they're using tech to streamline everything. Marketing automation. Chatbots remember RPA.
Working smarter, not harder. But there's got to be more to it than just efficiency, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's where transform comes in. Companies are using digital to completely change how they do business.
Now we're talking. No more dipping toes. They're diving headfirst into the digital pool. This is where those really cool, innovative experiences come in, right?
Exactly. Personalization. Using data to predict what customers want before they even ask.
That's next level stuff.
But it doesn't end there. The final stage is improve. These companies are always analyzing, always learning, always getting better.
They're like digital superheroes, constantly evolving their powers. But how does a company figure out where they stand on this model?
That's where the digital maturity assessment comes in. It's like a checkup for your business.
Yeah.
It helps you see your strengths, your weaknesses.
So kind of like a digital report card.
Exactly. It looks at 3 main areas: customer experience, operations, and information and technology.
And it breaks each area down into different categories, right? So you get a really detailed picture.
Right. For each category, you choose a description that fits your company best. So for example, let's say the category is customer engagement. There might be 4 levels. Level 1.
Level 1 is like, we send out bills and sometimes answer emails.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Very basic. Now imagine level 4. They're using data to create these personalized experiences. They're interacting seamlessly across every channel.
It's clear why that's level 4. So you do this for each category and boom, you know exactly where you stand.
And once you have that information, you can start taking action. Which brings us to digital transformation execution.
All right, so we're back, ready to tackle this whole digital transformation execution thing. We've got our roadmap. We know where we stand. Now, how do we actually, do it?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's where things get real.
Yeah.
Because you can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't execute it well.
It's like having a Ferrari, but not knowing how to drive stick shift.
Exactly. Luckily, the materials lay out a really clear framework. 6 phases to guide you through the whole process.
6 phases. Okay, we might need to break this down a bit.
It all starts with surprise, surprise strategy, figuring out your big picture goals, where you want to be in the digital world.
Setting your destination before you start driving, right?
Exactly. Then you move into assessment, taking stock of your current tech, your processes, your people, seeing what you've got to work with.
So like a digital inventory check.
I like it. And once you know where you stand, then you get to dream a little, envisioning your future state. How will your business run differently? How will you interact with customers?
So it's about more than just technology. It's about reimagining everything.
Exactly. It's a total transformation. And once you have that vision, then you can build your roadmap, breaking it down into smaller steps, timelines, who's responsible for what.
So you're not just trying to build a house all at once. You've got a blueprint.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah.
And with that blueprint, you're ready for implementation. This is where the rubber meets the road, rolling out those new technologies, training your team.
The actual heavy lifting.
Exactly. And it's not always easy. There will be bumps in the road. But as long as you're communicating, adapting as you go.
You'll get there eventually. But it doesn't just stop once you've implemented everything, right?
Nope. The final phase is all about monitoring and evaluating, making sure you're actually achieving those goals you set way back in the beginning. Are you hitting your targets? Are your customers happy?
So you're constantly checking your progress, making adjustments along the way.
Exactly. It's a continuous process of improvement. But I know you're thinking this all sounds like a lot to handle.
Well, yeah. How are you supposed to do all this on top of running a business?
That's where those 3 key work streams come in. Think of them as the foundation for successful execution.
Okay, so what are these magical work streams that keep everything from falling apart?
First up, and this is a big one, change management and communication. You can have the best tech in the world, but if your people aren't on board...
It's DOA, right?
Exactly. You need everyone moving in the same direction. Then there's governance evolution, making sure everyone knows their roles, who makes decisions.
So you don't have people running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Exactly. And finally, program and project management. This is where you put those project management skills to work, keeping everything on track, on budget.
Organized chaos. But it sounds like with these 3 work streams, you're well on your way to success.
They're definitely essential. But there's one more piece to the puzzle we need to talk about, the target operating model.
Okay, new term alert. What in the world is a target operating model?
It's like a blueprint for how your business will operate in this new digital world, how your teams are structured, your processes, everything.
So you're not just adding tech onto your existing way of doing things, you're rethinking the whole system.
You got it. And there are different models to consider. The materials talk about centralized, decentralized, and hybrid models.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. Centralized is like having a dedicated digital team calling the shots. Decentralized gives more power to individual business units. And hybrid, well, it's a bit of both.
Finding the right balance for your company is key. But no matter what model you choose, there's one thing that's always crucial.
People.
You can have all the fancy tech in the world, but without the right people.
It's meaningless. You need people who are adaptable, who embrace change, who are excited about this stuff.
They're the ones who make it all happen. So as we wrap things up here, it feels like we've done more than just scratch the surface of digital transformation. We've really gone deep.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding what it is to actually putting it into practice.
It's been quite a journey. And it's clear that digital transformation, it's not just a buzzword, it's the future of how we do business. So to everyone listening, whether you're just starting out or you're already knee-deep in your digital journey, remember, keep learning, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep your people at the heart of it all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.